Hello, readers. Welcome to reading class with me, Miss Taylor. Let's get started. So, are we ready to read? Do we have our textbook? Textbook here. Do we have our bookmark or a finger to track and follow along? Do we have our workbook? Check. And a pencil. Check. All right, we're going to remember to track with our finger, read each word carefully, pay attention to end marks. Some of our goals for today, we're going to read with accuracy and expression. We're going to understand what's happening in the story, and we're going to make connections to characters' feelings. And of course, we're going to enjoy the story. All right, we know that reading is thinking. So there's lots of things that are going on inside our brains as we are reading. We're making connections, we're visualizing, we are asking questions, we're summarizing, we're kind of thinking about, what happened in the story? Kind of the what's worth remembering? What's the important part of what I just read? Predicting, kind of taking some guesses. Another word for a prediction is a hypothesis. In science, we talk about that. Synthesizing, so kind of generating new ideas and allowing our thinking to change and grow. And then inferring is when we're kind of figuring things out. So we're using what we know with and combining with what's in the story to figure something out. All right, so our vocabulary sentences. Scientists do not ignore ordinary things. No, they don't. She actually repeated that careless mistake. Can you believe she did that? And our newest sentence, the smell attracted flies immediately. Ew, did you smell that? It's so stinky. All right. So in our new vocabulary sentence, what word means really interested the flies? Yeah, attracted. Which word means right now? Immediately. All right, so the smell, attracted flies immediately. Whew. Let's see. Alrighty, whoops. Taylor's computer's acting funny. Okay, so our first sentences we have to, not our first sentences, our vocabulary words are, let's see, I'm just going to see if I can scoot me out of the way here. Okay. Oh, so our story for today is Layers of the Earth. Okay. So now I'm going to scoot us out of the way there. Okay. So let's take a look at our word list for today. In word list number 1. Number 1 is Atlantic Ocean. What words? The Atlantic Ocean is the ocean that touches the eastern shore of the United States. Number 2 is Bermuda Triangle. What words? Number 3 is Andros Island. What words? Word 4 is Africa. What word? And we know Africa is a large area of land that is bigger than North America. It is on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, Africa. All right, and word 5 is engineer. What word? Nice job. Let's try those the fast way. Atlantic Ocean, Bermuda Triangle, Andros Island, Africa, engineer. Nice job. All right, column 2, word 1 is armor. What word? Armor is a hard covering that is made to protect anything inside. A ship could be covered with armor. The skin of some animals is like armor. So everyone, what do we call the hard covering that protects something? Armor. Nice job. All right. Word 2, what word? Dinosaur. Word 3, what word? Layers. Word 4, what word? Tyrannosaurus. And word 5, what word? Skeleton. Nice job. All right, and column 3. Word 1 is earliest. What word? Word 2 is triceratops. What word? Word 3 is killers. What word? Word 4 is Mesozoic. What word? And word 5 is explaining. What word? Nice job. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and look at part B. All right, and part B, the title is, here we are, Layers of the Earth. Layers of the Earth. All right, and I am on page 116. Please follow along with me in your textbook. So we're on lesson 23. Lesson 23, follow along with me. All right, I'm on page 116. And you can see here is a picture of some layers. And it looks like we have some dinosaur bones in there. Ooh. All right, so let's take a look at part B. Let's see. Okay, our title is Layers of the Earth. You learned a rule about piles. Remember that last time we learned about piles? Which things went into the pile earlier? Remember? Yeah, things closer to the bottom of the pile. So if you have a pile of things, whatever is closer to the bottom went into the pile earlier. So things closer to the bottom of the pile went into the pile earlier. We use the rule about piles to figure out how things happened a long time ago. Look at picture 1. It shows a large cliff. There are rows of stones and rocks and seashells. Each row is called a layer. Everyone, what is each row called? A layer. The layers are labeled A, B, C, and D. Touch layer D in your book. Touch layer D. Is that at the top of the pile or the bottom of the pile? The top. Nice job. The layers are piled up. That means the layers closer to the bottom of the pile came earlier. Which layer went into the pile earlier? Layer C or D? Yeah, layer C. Excuse me, everyone touch layer C and D. The layer closer to the bottom of the pile went into the pile earlier. So which layer is that? Layer C. Touch layer A and B. Which layer went into the pile earlier? Layer A, nice job. And we know that layer A went into the pile earlier because it's closer to the bottom. Let's keep reading. When we look at the layers of rock, we find skeletons of animals and shells of animals. In layer B, we find strange fish and other animals that lived many millions of years ago. So how long did these skeletons and shells go into the pile? How long ago did those shells and skeletons go into the pile? Millions of years ago. Wow. Everyone touch some of the skeletons and shells in layer B. Those skeletons and shells. So these are skeletons and shells of animals that do not live on Earth anymore. So in layer B, all these little shells and skeletons of animals, and these animals don't live on Earth anymore. In layer D, we find the skeletons of horses. So layer D, we find the skeletons of horses. Near the bottom of layer D, we find horses that are no bigger than dogs. Near the top of layer D, we find horses that are as big as the horses of today. When we look at layer C, we find the skeletons of some very strange animals. These are dinosaurs. Everyone, touch the animals in layer C. What are those skeletons of? Dinosaurs. Which came earlier, dinosaurs or horses? Dinosaurs, right? Came into the pile earlier. Some of the dinosaurs were much bigger than elephants. Other dinosaurs had great spikes on their tails. No dinosaurs are alive today. The only place we find their bones is in one of the layers underground. That is layer C. We can't find dinosaur bones in layer B. We can't find them in layer D. So everyone, what's the only layer where we find dinosaur skeletons? Yeah, layer C. Are any dinosaurs alive today? No. The layers of rock tell us a great deal about things that happened millions and millions of years ago. They tell us what it was like when the great dinosaurs walked on Earth. There were no horses, bears, elephants, or rabbits. There were no mice or cats, but there were many animals. Most of them were probably cold-blooded. So cold-blooded animals. We still have relatives of dinosaurs around today, like snakes and alligators, those kind of cold-blooded like lizards and reptiles. Some dinosaurs ate big animals. These dinosaurs were huge killers that could move fast. The ones that are found near the top of layer C stood almost 20 feet tall. Oh, 20 feet tall, that's pretty tall. When we move above layer C, we find the beginning of animals that we know. Horses, cats, bears, pigs. No layers show skeletons of humans. But if these skeletons were in the picture, they would be at the very top of the pile in layer D. So everyone, touch the only place human skeletons would be. And you should be touching the top of layer D. So the very top of layer D is the only place where we might find human skeletons. Here's another fact about the layers. When we dig a hole in any part of the world, we find the same layers. If we dig a hole in Africa or in Canada, we find skeletons of elephants near the top of the pile. We find dinosaurs in the next layer down. The layer that has dinosaur skeletons is called the Mesozoic. Ooh, that's a fun word, Mesozoic. So everybody, what's the name of the layer that has dinosaur skeletons? Mesozoic. Touch the Mesozoic layer in the picture. Oops. Here we go. The layer that came after the Mesozoic is the top layer. The top layer has no skeletons of dinosaurs. This layer is still being laid down. We live at the top of the top layer. So we live at the top of this top layer. Everyone, touch the top layer in the picture. Are there any dinosaur skeletons in that layer? No. But there are skeletons of a lot of other animals. Touch where you would find the skeletons of humans. And again, you should be touching the top part of this top layer. All right. So that is a little information about the layers of the earth. So what's next? Now you may be wondering, oh, but Miss Taylor, that was our nonfiction selection. So usually when we have our reading lesson, we have our nonfiction story and then our fiction story. Well, this was kind of a little bit more information about our nonfiction passage about the layers of the earth. So that's our nonfiction, our true, real stuff. And then in our next lesson, we are going to start our fictional story, which has to do with someone named Edna Parker. So we will find out about her next time. But for today, what's next? You're going to reread the story again on your own. So you're going to reread about layers of the earth and how we have different piles and different layers of the earth, things that went into the pile earlier, things that went into the pile first came earlier than those that came after that. And you're going to learn a little bit about the bones of these different sea creatures and the bones of dinosaurs and then the bones of humans and other animals that go at the top. You're going to answer the questions at the end of the story. So we have some review items at the end of our story, like usual. You do not need to write these down, but you should look them over and be able to answer them correctly. And then you're going to complete your workbook for today. And you're going to send me some pictures so I can see your lovely work. You're going to read for 20 more minutes. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you again soon. Bye.